Ark of Osiris Raging Sands has been released into the game for about 3 weeks now. I was lucky enough in this recent registration to get an alliance that I was in register. So I was able to stream it live to my channel and figure out everything to do with the Ark. Today I'll be telling you everything new with the game mode, if it's actually a good game mode, like if it's fun, and I'll be telling you whether or not I think it should become a permanent thing in Rise of Kingdoms. I will also discuss if it should be an Osiris League or not. This is going to be a valuable video because this may become the new Ark of Osiris, so you may as well get this information to get a head start against every other player. So this Ark was Lilith's way of reworking Ark of Osiris. They said the old Ark was too easy to manipulate enemies, there was really no strategy, it was just who has more players with more money basically, they win. So Lilith has decided they're going to change that all up with the Raging Sands version of Ark. Currently it is in beta testing, so I will point that out, so nothing here is technically final, but it kind of is final, like it's basically released but not really. It means that they could change things up, add new things, remove things, we don't know yet, but for the most part this is what the game mode will look like once it properly comes out. Starting off, the major change they added was they've made the game mode have a fog system. This basically is a system that you can see on screen where you can't actually see enemy marchers. Marchers that walk into the fog basically disappear, you can't see them. Now there are a few things that allow you to see in the fog. First of all, you can see, as I'm showing on screen, you can see enemy cities in the fog. Wherever they are on the map, you can still see them. Whether that be at an obelisk, possibly at another obelisk, or possibly in the starting zone, since they're the only places cities can go. You can also see around, I think it's like a 15 block radius of wherever your marchers are. So you can see around your marchers. If one's on the other side of the map and one's on one side of the map, you can see around either march. They do not have to be close by. You can also see any structures that you own. So let's say right now you own a Shrine of War or something. You can see that Shrine of War on the map and you'll be able to see this radius around it. You can see that radius is basically what you would be able to see. It's about that size, give or take. Some bits are a bit smaller, some bits are a bit bigger. But yeah, it's basically that. So any structures, wherever your cities are, and enemy cities can be seen as well, and wherever your marchers are. What can't you see though? You can't see a few things. You can't see enemy marchers if you don't have something that's able to see them, and you can't see enemy rallies if you don't have something that can see them. So that really does bring a bit of a dilemma in terms of just knowing where your enemies are, and that's where the strategy comes in. The main goal of the Ark is to predict where are your enemies. Are they close? Are they far? Are they about to march to one building? Are they about to march to another? And I think it's a really, really unique experience. There are a few other ways you can see, and they are to do with the skills, and I'll discuss that later. But in terms of being able to see, basically, wherever your enemies are in the old Ark, yes, it makes the game mode easier, but it makes it a lot more monotonous, and there's no strategy behind it. Now, you don't even know how far the rally is from an obelisk, unless you're next to the rally. So you can see the rally commanders they're using, but you don't know. They could be a minute away, they could be 5 minutes away, they could be 5 seconds away. You do not know until they enter the range of anything that you can see. So being able to try and predict enemies is certainly a key factor that you should take into consideration when doing this Ark of Osiris. Also, not being able to see enemies means they can ambush you. I will have footage on screen from when we absolutely got annihilated by the enemies. They literally popped out of the fog with like 100 marchers, took our whole entire obelisk, burned every city that ported in, and basically took over the map and won. So just straight up, they manipulated that fog very well. What they also did was they rallied with a Cow Nevsky, and I didn't notice it. I think some people noticed it was a Cow Nevsky. And that march was super fast, but we didn't know how long it was until it hit the obelisk. So no one actually garrisoned the obelisk, and it kind of just sat there, instantly got taken, and then we couldn't port in time. So right off the bat, they basically played off very, very smart, and we played a little bit suboptimal, but we didn't know. It's our first time doing this Ark. Now, so other than that, the rewards are the same. You still get 10 gold heads for winning, 2,000 gems, 50 hours of training speeds, a free 25% extender, and 500k experience, plus a 20,000 troop training extender. That's for the gold winning. If you lose, it's like basically half everything. And then Silver League, if you win, half everything from before, except you get VIP instead of gems. And then losing, you half that again, except you get 3 gold heads instead of 2. That's basically, the rewards are the same. You can see them on screen, like nothing's really changed in terms of rewards. Basically nothing has changed here either. You still need to be City Hall 16 or higher. The thing they added was the Sandstorm back. That's basically the fog. One thing to note I didn't mention is you can't see enemy like caravans. So not enemy caravans, just those things where you gather the stuff in the Ark. You can't see those, so keep that in mind. Shoes Favor is another thing they added. Basically, once the Ark starts, every player will get a great march speed increase. It's like probably about a 200% increase because you go from your starting zone to the obelisk in about 1:30, where it used to be like maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. So Shoes Feather is really, really nice. I definitely like it. For the most part, I think that it's a very, very good addition. It can make it a little bit annoying though when your enemies basically leave their starting zone with Shoes Feather, run straight for your obelisk, use hard push, and then just completely take out the obelisk like in 10 seconds. So that's something to note whenever you are starting in the Ark of Osiris. It's definitely good to take advantage of this as much as you can. One thing to note, while Shoes Feather is in effect, any march speed skills won't give any extra march speed, but the second it runs out, you just use a march speed skill and you're kind of set. I would like to say I read it wrong. You actually can't see enemy cities. It's only when you occupy buildings that enemy cities are on is when you can see them. You can also see inside of the enemy starting zone. That's why I mixed that up. So since we didn't really get to see them teleport around much, since they just went straight on our obelisk where we had troops there, we didn't really notice that. So you can see enemy cities in their starting zone, but not on their actual altars unless you own their obelisk, basically. Now, the skills are the other thing that they've really changed up. So we'll talk about the skills, and I'll show you a couple of them in action from the live stream. So we'll start off Total Vision. Total Vision gains 15 visual range from enemy troops and occupied buildings for 60 seconds, and also increases all allied troops' damage by 20% for 180 seconds, cooldown 15 minutes. So this is a really, really nice skill. It's actually probably the most powerful skill because it basically prevents you from being ambushed. Being able to see where the enemies are at all times is very important, and basically this is going to allow you to do that. It also allows you to get a bunch of range from the enemy occupied buildings as well. So you'll be able to see where enemies are basically all the time while this skill is running for 180 seconds. That's about 3 minutes. So that's a lot of time to be able to see where enemies are, where they're maneuvering, especially if you're about to make a major attack. You could use this skill, know where the enemies are, and kind of work around them if they can't see you as well. Fire arrows. This is probably the most useless skill they added. Increased range, normal attack, and range skill damage of up to 30 allied troops within a certain area by 30%, and their ranged attack by 20%. So yeah, you get like, I think that's about 100% stats, 80% stats, something like that. Ranged troops, yes, they exist, but not enough people use them for this to really be a skill that you should consider. Dust Up, this decreases the visual range of all enemy troops and occupied structures by 50%, that's really, really good, and increase their all damage taken by 10% for 180 seconds. This is much better than Fire Arrows, straight up. Being able to decrease that visual range means that if you are about to ambush them, you can decrease their range, and then like 50 people pop out of nowhere, they basically have got no shot of stopping you. Master Strategy, I'm pretty sure this is new. I didn't actually see it, so I may be wrong. But what it does is it allows you to move up to 30 allied troops within range to a target destination. I don't know how far this range is, nor do I know how far the target destination is. I presume it would be a big chunk of the map, because otherwise it's kind of useless. Upon arrival, the moved troops gain 50% increased troop attack for 180 seconds. This will take the whole entire match to refresh. So basically, you either pick to the death or Master Strategy for the most part. To the death is probably still better, but Master Strategy does really allow you to ambush enemies. So let's say like they've all marched to your obelisk and 30 people just poof disappear. Like they're not going to complain, but then you can take their obelisk back. So really, really interesting thought right there of what you could do with Master Strategy, and I think it's very, very powerful. Hidden Sentry, this is on screen now. This is a bit of a hard one to explain. So the Hidden Sentry is basically a thing that you can place down with a visual range of 45 in the selected location. So wherever you put it, you can see basically 45 tiles around it. This lasts for 720 seconds. The Hidden Sentry is invisible to enemy governors, but can be spotted by enemy Hidden Sentries. It can be attacked and destroyed once it's spotted. So this actually costs no points to like activate, so no skill points. So really, really good skill to have. You should probably just have this all the time. You could put this next to an enemy obelisk. You could put this next to a structure you really want to defend. And it basically makes it so the enemies can't stop you from seeing where they are. Of course, this also brings another element of strategy, trying to predict where the enemy has put their hidden sentry and then trying to take it out as well, because this does give you a very major advantage. And I think it's a very unique skill that a lot of people should definitely be using. This is definitely a skill you also want to use, because if the enemy is using it, you can't counter it unless you put your hidden sentry down in an area you predict they are using it. It can be quite easy to predict where the enemies are placing their hidden sentries, because you'll know that they're being very, very predictive in an area where they've got it, because they will be able to predict everything you're doing since they can obviously see it. So what's my opinion on the Ark, and is there any things I would change? I think it's actually really good. I think the idea of the fog is actually nice. Being able to ambush people and play way more strategic, I do like. Yes, of course, there are still slight pay-to-win aspects, but at the end of the day, if someone spent money, they're not going to spend more money unless it's going to get them something. And Lilith is a business, they got to make money, otherwise the game does not run. So being able to, I guess, still get a slight advantage from spending money is unfortunate, but it does really, really help just beating people in general. by knowing that there's a way to ambush them or pop out of the fog or go around the edge of the map and hit their obelisk. There's a lot of strategy that can be used in this arc, and it's no longer rally enemy obelisks and rally your obelisk and fill it with garrison and then see who can swarm structures the best. That's gone. The days of that are gone. So I'm really, really happy with the way that they've structured this. And in my opinion, I think it's definitely much better for like a more fun experience. It's no longer as monotonous as old arc where march troops attack, march troops attack, march troops attack. Whatever. This arc is march troops, try and discover where your enemies are. Can you put a troop here to ambush them? It's a very, very interesting time. I've been ambushed by enemies. I ambushed enemies. Like, there are a lot of things you can do in this Ark of Osiris. In terms of putting it in Osiris League, I think that's actually a good idea. A lot of people will say that's a bit dumb. It's still in testing phase. Why would you do that? I think it's good purely because it's going to give people a better gauge of the meta strategies for the Ark, give people a better understanding. Because if people in Osiris League are doing it, it's the best thing in the game. It's quite simple as that. I don't think it will impact the Osiris League too much, and it will mean that kingdoms like 60 GT and 1V, I forgot what kingdom they're in, will actually have to use strategy to win and not just bring in 6 500 million power accounts, a billion power account, whatever, swarm down rallies, obelisks with Trajan and stuff. That's gone. They have to actually play strategically, and it will be interesting to see which kingdoms actually end up winning. If you want to see more footage of the Ark of Osiris, I will have my live stream linked down below in the description. It may be in the pinned comment depending if I'm up or not. Also, I just want to say if you enjoyed the video, please do consider subscribing. I'm trying to push 1,000 subscribers by June 27th when I begin my All Siege Restart Jumper account, which you can even join in with me. The best way to join me on this Restart account is to join my Discord server, also linked in the description. It won't be in the pinned comment though. These videos take hours to make, and your subscription is certainly much appreciated. And I want to say I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.